So today we have a very simple pattern, but an effective one. It's a Sculpin pattern. Right now I'm tying on a size 2 Predator streamer hook with 6/0 olive thread. What you're going to want to do is start your thread down the shank of your hook. Doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to go all the way down, just start it. Then you go ahead and you grab your zonker. Now what I like to do is get about an inch or so of the rabbit fur off the zonker. Then what you're going to want to do is go ahead and put that down so the fur is facing down, and tighten that right down to the shank of the hook. Now we're tying this pattern upside down. That way the hook is on top when we're finished. What I like to do is just make sure everything's facing where it should be. And then I go ahead and grab my next zonker strip. Now with this, I just pinch a little bit of the fur off just to give me a tag end. Doesn't have to be a real big tag, just enough to grab on and secure it down. Now right here, I just start bringing my thread forward. Then I start my wraps. I like to take my time with this part. Just make sure I'm getting tight wraps all the way up the shank of the hook. Every wrap you take, it's a good idea to start pruning them fibers back. It'll help you in the end, so you're not crowding the eye. That's your biggest thing. You don't want to crowd the eye because you are going to be putting on a helmet. And if you do too many wraps, the helmet won't fit. Then you just secure your rabbit strip. Go ahead and clip that off. And then I like to take my thread and just kind of build a little bit of a head on it, just to make sure everything's secure. Just continuing to pull them fibers back. Now I'm going to do a 3 or 4 turn whip finish. And what I'm doing here is I'm blowing on the fly as I'm doing my whip finish. It helps to keep all the fibers back so they're not getting trapped in your whip finish. But if some do, it's okay. The helmet, when that goes on, that'll cover a lot of it. Now just clip your tag end. And can't forget the most important part, head cement. Now right here, if you wanted to, you could add your adhesive, super glue, whatever you prefer. I just use head cement. I haven't had any issues with it. I've had none of my flies have fallen apart. And then go ahead and grab your Sculpin helmet. Now I'm using fish skull Sculpin helmet. I'm using the small variety. And you got to remember, you're tying your fly upside down, so your helmet has to go on upside down. And you just want to push that right in. You want to make sure that helmet is very secure on there. So push it back and make sure everything's lined up. Prune your fibers back. Make sure nothing's trapped or in the way. Then I take my thread and I start to build a thread dam, just to make sure it's not going to go anywhere or slip off. Go ahead and snip your tag end. Now you can do a whip finish if you want. I just found that if I do a couple half hitches, that works just fine. here, this is where I make sure everything's perfect, everything's lined up where it needs to be. And then I go ahead and head cement that dam I just built in front of the head. Then I go ahead, just make sure everything's where it needs to be. And then I flip the fly around. You have to have the helmet facing you for the next step. Here's where you go ahead and grab the eyes that are included in the pack. They do send you eyes with the helmets. Then you're going to want to put one eye in each spot on the helmet. Now this part's a little tricky. You can do it with your fingers, or you can also use a bodkin. That seems to help a lot too. These eyes are really teeny tiny, so it's kind of difficult. But if you preferred, you could drop a little bit of super glue in each spot and then drop the eye in and let that dry and then move on to the next step. I'm using Solar Res, the thin formula, and I just put a little dab over each eye. Just make sure the eyes are covered, and then I go ahead and I take my bodkin and I just kind of smooth it out so the Solar Res isn't all bumped up. Right here I'm smoothing out the Solar Res. Just hit it with your UV light. I like to give it a little extra time. Make sure everything's fully cured before I move on to the next step. After that, I remove it from my vise. I try to pull everything back so all the fibers are tight. And then I go ahead and grab my permanent marker and start to make lines. Now, you can purchase black barred rabbit strips, so you don't have to do this step, but that's what I have. I have these olive zonkers, and using a Sharpie works just as well. I've never had an issue with it. Now when I'm going down through, I try to keep the lines even, but it doesn't have to be perfect. The fish seem to love it no matter what. I've even caught fish on ones that I didn't draw the lines on. The fish seem to love it no matter if there's lines or not. And look at that, another beautiful fly pattern done. Alright, now let's hop on over to Spawn Fly Fish and check out our material list. Now what you want to do is you want to go on there, and first we need our helmet. So we just use their website. It's very easy. Everything's self-explanatory. It's one of the easiest websites to use. Now you pick your helmet you want, and In this case, I used the green olive. Now the neat part about this is if you scroll down, it tells you right on there what size helmet to get to go with what size hook you have. It's really neat. But okay, we got that. Now let's move on. As you can see here, they got a pretty big selection of fur and hair. But if you scroll down through, you can take a look at all the stuff they have. They have that barred zonker strips if that's what you want to go with. I scrolled all the way down to the bottom and found my zonkers that I used. And look at the wide variety of color they have. Okay, we got that. Add that to our cart. Now last but not least, we need our hook. So let's go back and pick our hook. Like I said, I used the size 2 Trout Predator streamer hook. And I've had no issues with them tying them on these hooks. And there you go. All that's left to do is check out and get to tying. Thank you for watching my videos.